more. Widesight TV.
So, Benj, welcome.
It's lovely to be here, Clark.
It is. I'm going to subject you to a quiz. Is that okay?
I'm very excited.
You're very excited.
I'll do my best.
But do you know the answers?
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
Do you remember being at school?
Do I remember much? No. Well, I remember something, but we'll see whether I manage this.
In front of us, there are 3 cardboard boxes.
Yep.
Children have asked these questions. I think these might be adults. And this is a secondary school, primary school, and tertiary school question. So what you must do is pick me a question, and I've got to tell you what the answer is.
Excellent.
So test me out.
So we'll see how much you remember. Right, we're going to start with the primary school.
Yep.
And here is a question. How much does a windmill cost? And this is a very important one. We buy them from him.
Too much, actually, is what you usually tell me.
That is the correct answer.
Yeah.
Right, next question. I'm not going to let you correct that. One from tertiary. Why don't they spin in every direction to make more energy?
Well, if the blades spun in opposite directions, it wouldn't move. So the idea is that you go in the same direction in order to get electricity.
A fair answer, answer. Okay, one from secondary school. What are they made of?
Steel, copper, and fiberglass is the blades. So
Fiberglass, like my old canoe.
Like your old canoe. Now, you've had 3 questions. Before you get carried away, my turn to test you.
You didn't tell me you were going to...
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay. If I have to, I will do my utmost.
I will start with a tertiary school question.
Oh, a grown-up's question.
Yeah. Since you went to a better...
You probably ought to ask it to a grown-up. But
but you went to a better university than me, so I'm expecting a real quality answer. Why aren't turbines on top of buildings taking up less land?
Because we don't put buildings where it's really, really windy. There you go. And they don't look very nice on top of roofs either, to be fair.
No, that's very true.
Even David Cameron tried that and it didn't really work.
They probably don't know who David Cameron is.
Yeah, he's an old guy.
Okay.
Like us.
Good question, this one. How do wind turbines work?
So, it's very simple. The roundy bit makes electricity. Simple enough?
It's simple. That'll do for me.
There you go. Wind, turn the wind, make electricity, put it in the grid.
So teacher's assessment, that one.
Excellent.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good one.
Go on.
Good one. This is an interesting one. Since you buy my wind turbines, do they ever break?
Well, rarely. I'm pleased to say they're pretty reliable. And they're pretty much working all the time. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm going to ask you one
turn
now.
Again. No, yeah.
One from primary school. Are they electric? That's a really difficult question. Are they electric?
So wind turbines produce electricity, but to make them work a bit like a car, you need a little bit of electricity in the wind turbine in order to help it to work.
Very good answer. Now, another grown-ups from the tertiary box. Why aren't they lighter so they turn faster? Ooh, that's from an engineer, I'm guessing.
You know what? Our blades, which are 75, 80 metres long, they bend nearly 20 metres at the end because they're so light and flexible. So that person is a great question. They are light, they bend because they need to catch the wind.
Excellent. Very good answer. They bend in the wind.
They bend in the wind.
And finally, in this round, how long does it take to put a wind turbine out to sea?
Well, it depends how fast the boat is, really. Because that really depends on how fast.
Fair comment.
But let's say normally, so building your wind farm at the moment, we can get sort of 4 turbines on a boat, and we'd expect that to come back in a week to get a few more turbines.
So you can do 4 in a week?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a holiday for 4 turbines. A week's
Excellent,
holiday.
A week off. Right.
Do you want to know the scores?
Well, I've won, but I just want to know by how much. Yeah.
Right, okay. Well, you think you won, we'll ask you some more questions, right? A primary school question.
These are the best.
How long do wind turbines last?
So, until they break. But in all seriousness, I would say 20 to 30 years. The older ones, 20. We've got much better at making them. You've got much better at making them.
Thank you.
So 30 years or longer.
Excellent. I would agree with that. I think that. Yeah.
If you maintain them properly, like anything else, like cars or people.
have you been putting these back in the box? Because I'm sure we've had this question before.
Go on.
How much do they cost?
Too much. They're still too much. Yeah, they've not got any cheaper since we last discussed this, Clark.
Well, they probably have. The cost keeps coming down.
I wish they would.
Yeah. Do they have to be maintained, and if so, how often?
So they do, and a bit like a car, an annual service, very good idea to do on a turbine. But every new turbine that comes out the factory, they're getting better and better and needing less and less maintenance.
Good.
So means they can be making electricity more of the time.
Good.
So I think it's time for you to answer a few more, and I'm going for a primary school one.
Excellent.
So, why do they have 3 propellers?
Well, the blades, which is the propellers,
Yeah.
if we only had one propeller, it would be unstable. So it would kind of, if we have 2, then that's okay, but 3 spreads the force and captures more wind.
So that's actually the best way to capture the energy.
It is. It's the best way to capture the energy without stressing it and breaking it. We don't want them to break.
We certainly don't.
Yeah.
Now, Clark, would you like to go primary, secondary, or tertiary for your next one?
Secondary.
Excellent choice. So, how much wind is needed for it to spin? How fast do they go?
So
2 questions for the price of one.
So
Maybe I could get 2 turbines for the price of one? No, anyway,
no.
let's hear your answer.
You can get one for the price of 2.
I'm sure I can.
So I'll do this in meters per second, because if I answer in miles per hour, our audience might not follow this.
I might try and help with a bit of translation into miles per hour.
So wind speed, ideally for offshore, 10 meters per second.
So that's about 22 miles an hour.
About 22.
Which up at the height of the turbine is not a problem.
Yeah, well, it's certainly, if you were walking into a 22 mile an hour, you'd know about it. You'd have to bend down and have a go. And how fast they go, well, if you go to the end of the blade, then it could be 200.
200 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
So if you could sit on the end of the blade, you'd probably fall off.
You'd probably get flung a very long way, maybe all the way to shore.
Yeah.
Right, your final question, which I think will be another primary school one. Okay, here you go. How many are there in the world?
How many turbines are there?
How many turbines are there in the world?
You know what? I don't know the answer to that question.
So let me ask you another one then. How many turbines do we need to put up if we're going to save the planet from climate change?
Oh, that's a good question. So if we started now to do the climate change in 2050, we'd need to put 100,000 turbines in all the seas in the world.
Fantastic. Let's get on and do it.
Yeah, shall we start?
Go on.
No, I've run out of primary
round.
school teachers.
Oh, thank goodness
so this
for
is
that.
your last round,
Here we go.
last secondary school, and then it's university challenge. Okay?
I think we might stop after that.
Yeah. How long do they need to run to make up for the carbon footprint of building them?
So I can answer that. 12 months. We actually have just done a study on a wind farm we're building in Taiwan called Changhua, so you can go and have a look on our website. We did a deep study, and it was 12 months before all the carbon, not only to build it, but also to operate it for its lifetime. And then the remaining 20 to 30 years is all clean energy.
Just saving the planet after that.
Absolutely.
What a great idea. Now, university challenge, you ready?
Ooh, go on.
This is your starter for
Try
10.
me. Oh,
Okay?
no, thank
it's
you.
upside down, actually. That's helpful.
I always think of you as Jeremy Paxman.
That we've asked that question. I think the primary school must have skipped secondary school. How heavy is one of the blades?
So, depends how big they are, but the biggest ones are probably around 40 to 50 tons. Would that be about right? Maybe a bit less, 30 to 40 tons?
35 tons, 36 tons
Okay,
at the moment.
well, you make them, so hopefully you know how heavy they are.
Yeah.
Fair
So-
enough.
so
They're
the-
pretty heavy, so all three is about 100 tons.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah. But you definitely don't drop them on your foot.
And how heavy is the box at the top, the nacelle?
That's 400 tons.
So the whole lot on top of this big metal tower is about 500 tons.
It is.
Wow.
We probably should say how many elephants that is, but I don't know.
It's quite a few, but we don't keep elephants up in turbines, just in case anyone's worried.
No. Now, here's a great question. Do turbines work better in the sea or in land?
So they work much better in the sea because there's always more wind offshore than onshore, and you can make really big turbines offshore because they're beyond the view. So you can make really big turbines that run a lot of the time and make really good, clean, cheap electricity.
I feel at this point...
Onshore is also good.
I feel at this point that you'd be defending that there's a really good reason why we put them onshore as well.
Yes.
So that we can capture as much renewable energy as possible.
We need both.
Yeah.
There's no doubt if we're going to tackle climate change, we need both.
Excellent. We've got one question left.
I'm asking it to you.
Oh no, we've got two
Actually, I've got
questions.
two. I'm going to choose the harder one. Here we go. Actually, I'm going to ask both. How tall are they? What's the tallest?
Right.
You must know that one.
Yeah. So, if you look at a wind turbine, then it's about 100 meters before you get to the nacelle at the top. And then it's another...
That's the metal box.
That's the metal box. And then another 80 meters to get to the tip of the blade. So overall, about 185 meters, but they're going to get bigger and they'll be over 200 meters. And that's just a bit from the sea. They go then down maybe 50, 60, 70 meters into the seabed.
Wow, so this whole thing could be up to 400 or more meters from tip to toe.
Yeah.
Amazing. And the very final question, is wind energy the most sustainable and effective source of energy?
So, I think we have to be honest and say that wind energy, you get wind everywhere in the world, that's good, but you also get sun in places. So whilst wind is a great source of energy, and it's a natural source of energy, and it'll be around forever, we've also got the sun. The most important thing is it's cheap, and it's good for the climate change. So I would support wind any day.
Fantastic. Two peas in a pod. Fully agreed.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you.
I think you won. Yeah.
The customer is always right. That was so much fun.
Energy. Energy. Marine. Energy. Power. Widesight TV.